welcome back to Julian's Garden. I hope you're doing well and beautiful day in Cambodia, Australia again. I'm so excited to show you my results and my experience how to grow rose from cuttings. I think this one is the most more success how I grow rose from cutting, and I'm really excited. And here's the cutting. Let me show you. So this cutting, they were like softwood cutting. I took like kind of at the end of autumns and only few months, and I can see how much they are pushing out the new grow. And I think one of the cutting haven't pushing much. This one, I think this one might not thick because I might see a little bit rotting here. I'm not sure, but I will take the cutting out and we can have a look together. But down at the bottom here, can you see here the root of the cutting just grow out of the pot? And I think some other root like this one as well, because I have been so excited. So I just every few days I just lift the pot up and after that I put it down again. So every time I do that, okay, damn, it's the root that already sticking out. And so I really want to show you the result today, and I want to repot them. I put each of the cutting in individual container, so it have its own room to grow, and after that the root not sticking out like it anymore. So let me just dump this container out in the tray, so I'm not gonna make any mess, and we're gonna have a look. Right, so the moment is the true. Let me take this out. I hope you can see better though, because it's very sunny at the moment, but also the cutting quite young, so I don't want to damage their root. Okay, how are we gonna do this? What will I do now? Maybe just like this. Okay, here we go. Okay, I think I'm right about, I think one of the cutting is rotten. Look at that. Down there, but never mind. I got, I think, some cutting. Look at that. It go beautifully with all their roots, or all these roots. This one and this one. Look at that. And do you think this one go the root yet? This one start going the root as well. Okay, and this one, I think if I just, this one haven't forming the root yet, but I can see down at the bottom of the cutting here is forming the causes. I think this one, so after a few more months or another month or so, it can forming the root. So I will put it the cutting back into the soil. But overall, I got 3 cutting very well, quite well rooted out as well. Look at that, very healthy. And so totally I got 5 cutting. Look at that, and 3 forming beautifully with their roots. Look at that, so happy. And only one still looking very good. I think it can forming the roots out very quick, another month or so. But you know, some variety they form the root quicker than some other variety. So yeah, so happy with the result. And this cutting I took it at the end of autumn. So if you want to grow rose from cutting, I really highly recommend this method. Take the cutting in the autumn or in late autumn. Either you find when the weather cool down, not too hot. For me, I think take the cutting in summer it's too hot, and we will have trouble to keep the moist and not to dry out and not to dress out. So I prefer to take the cutting in autumn from now on, actually. Alright, so let me just put one of the cutting back in this container that I grow them from the cutting in the container before. I just put that cutting back into this potting mix, or the mix, and hopefully in another month it's gonna form the root. Alright, so the one doesn't haven't formed the roots yet, I put him back in here. Just one color in here. Alright, So now for the other cuttings, I'm going to pot them up in individual container. So in this mix that I got them from cutting, I mix them, I think like 40, I think roughly 40% of perlite and roughly 60% of potting mix. So you can see the mix very light, very airy, and very easy for the wood to grow out. So for the mix, I'm going to pot them up quite similar, but I put less the percentage of the perlite. You can see the mix here. I did mix it up, I think maybe in here around 30% or 25% of perlite. And the reason I put perlite in this as well, because you know their wood still very delicate, so I want them to have a very easy to root out, so that's why. All right, but also the perlite will keep them soil moist as well, but in the meantime they act like drainage. Okay, so I just got the pot like this, about 10 centimeter deep and 10 centimeter width as well. So fill over halfway of the potting mix or of the medium that I mix together with the perlite. And the potting mix, I just use premium potting mix, okay? And here the cutting, let me to put each of the cutting in each pot. So in the future, they have more room to grow. You can see that. I just put the cutting in here and just very gently pour or put the mix in. And again with the cutting, and very happy with the result. I hope that you can experience like me, and then you can have some more roses that's free and you feel so rewarding, you know, because before I tried so many times, so many different techniques and so different time, but at the end now I got the kind of the kick out of it. So I'm in my front yard now, and let me just show you several things just around here. This is beautiful hellebores that have been blooming few weeks lately. So beautiful. This one is the same variety that I just showed you in the, I think in the container that I think in the previous video. Look at that. Beautiful blooming. Anyway, so here is the rose bush that I think is perfect example, and to show you how I take the cutting in autumn, or those cutting I took when they were in late autumn. So now we are in late July, so I think just around roughly 4 months. And here let me show you. So the cutting, they were like softwood cutting, so we took the cutting when they finished blooming after between 2 and 3 weeks. At that time the cutting is not too weak or not too hot either. So example, just imagine we are in late autumn and this flower already finished blooming for around 2 and 3 weeks, and we're going to take the cutting. So this cutting is not long, you can see that, and they are not thick either. The stem quite similar size like the cutting I show you that I got before. So it's just very easy to take the cutting. Let me put the camera down so I hope you can see better. Alright, so we need to around 15 to 20 centimeter high of the cutting. We don't want the cutting too long because that makes the cutting dry out very quick. So yeah, just cut down anything down like this, and we're going to bring inside and we can prepare the cutting. I'm going to take a few more, so just very easy to show you the example. And example like this one as well. This one, you can see the flower on the top here, a little bit dry. Okay, I got flower up, and then it's finished blooming, and the stem is very good size as well. Lately, I find that the size of the stem doesn't matter much, you know, because I just showed you before the stem are very small, and they are not thick at all. Okay, example, I got two branches in here, and maybe get another one, and we're going to bring inside. So it's very easy to demonstrate to you. Alright, so I'm inside now. So on the top here, let me show you. I don't use the cutting or the part that on the top near to the blooms area. I find that they quite young, and they often shivering down and dry out very quick. So I often use the lower part of the branches that I just show you. So here the lower part. So normally I just use down here. Even like one branch like this, I choose maybe just use to get only one cutting from it. I just don't use the part that near to the bloom. You can see it's too soft. Alright, so here let me just cut down. So we cut the part off. This part off, you will see here no nip, no over here or anything at all. So because we want to cut now, just be know the nip nose where they will form the root out. And I'm going to choose how to say this one over 15 to 20 centimeter. Look, and I just cut the part on the top off because I don't need them. So only like this, perfect. And the size of the cutting are quite small as well. They are not thick at the side of pencil at all. Alright, so I just put I got something here. That usual I just make the hole and push a cutting in. Normally I put over 2 or 3 nip nodes in the soil. It depends on the length of the cutting. Like this one example, I can put only 2.5, I think roughly like that, in the soil. And it's the same medium that I should talk with you before, roughly over 40% of perlite and 60% of potting mix. Alright, so just do the same. We know the nip node off and cut on the top of it as well. I don't need it. The part on the top is too weak. Alright, so this one I do the same. Like that. This one I bury over two nip nodes in the soil, and another cutting I have here. Alright, so I did add some more cutting because I think the pot still have a room, so I think just shoving some more cutting in. Alright, so because at the end of the winter I'm going to do a lot of rose pruning, so it's nice to use some of the cutting and to make more plant. Alright, so on the softwood cutting, and this one I believe this is the hardwood cutting. Okay, but anyway, I just put it down. So that is just very simple. So that's the way I normally do the cutting, or I prepare the cutting into the premiums or into the mix. And yeah, so I will keep them in quite shady area. I'm gonna show you where I normally keep the cutting. Alright, so here's the area that I got a lot of the cutting. Let me shrink in this side. Can you see that? A lot of cuttings. And I found that this area is excellent for the cutting in my experience anyway, because this area throughout the day, it doesn't have direct sunlight. It only have filter light throughout the day, just only like this. So I think perfect, and then to keep the cuttings moist and it's not too hot. And the sun doesn't shine directly to the cutting to dry the cutting out. So I think it's perfect. So that's why the cutting rooting so well as well. Okay, so here let's come to have a look later. Look this one. So the cutting that I show you that it have a colors at the bottom but haven't formed the root yet. I put back in medium and back into the original area. It's just here I will expect the root to come out in the month or so. And here the cutting that I show you. So the rooted cuttings I tip it out before that I did when it was in late autumn. So this and they were softwood cutting. So this cutting I just demonstrate to you. We are in mid-late winter now, and so most of them they are softwood cutting, and only 2 big ones they were hardwood cutting. So we'll see if, what we're gonna work, because I will expect the hardwood cutting we're gonna they're gonna take because I did a lot of time before. But the softwood cutting, I haven't done anything like that in the winter. Mostly I did take hardwood cutting in the winter. So we'll see. So here I do some other experiment as well. Here are the hardwood cutting I took. It's work in the middle of May, so work kind of at the beginning of the winter, and already few months, I think, well, 2 months, and they still looking very good. And out the back here, I got 2 more container, and they are softwood cutting. I just did, I think, 3 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and they still looking very good as well. So this is hardwood cutting, and the one is softwood cutting. So we'll see if the softwood cutting they going to take or not, and I think which one could, I mean, what kind of cutting will take better, hardwood cutting or softwood cutting in the winter. So will be very interesting to see. And I like to keep the cutting in this area because they got very well protected from the wind as well. Now the wind is really make the cutting dry out very quick. So if you find a spot in your yard, in the area that they got protected from the wind, that it definitely help as well. And I normally water the cutting between 3 and 4 days, and make sure you don't let the cutting dry out, okay? Because the softwood cutting dry out very quick, and always keep an eye on them. And what else I need to say? Here are the cuttings that I just put them up in the individual container. So one here and one there, and another one at the corner there. So I will move them into the sunny location in early spring, but for now they stay in the same location with the other cutting, or the same area that they were before. Now, another reason why I want to keep the cutting in these areas, because I can control how much water I give to the cuttings. Because last winter or last season I did the cutting, and we got so much rain throughout the winter and spring. So a lot of my cutting were ruined. So mindful about that. Keep your cutting somewhere that you can control how much water you want to give to them, and make sure you always keep the cutting damp, okay? Not too wet, because the wet is the enemy of your cutting gets rotten as well. And too dry, and your cutting will just shrivel and turn to brown, dying up as well. And so just balance is the key. And I mentioned to you before that I water the cutting between every 3 and 4 days, but also it depends on your location as well. If the area is too hot, or I mean have a lot of sun in the winter and very exposed and have a lot of wind, and you might have to water your cutting more often, might be every second day. So that is for the video today. I hope that you enjoy the video. I hope this video is helpful. If you have any questions, please write down in the comment below. I love to answer them, or we can learn from each other as well. So thank you so much for watching, and see you next video. Bye bye.